and Robbo.
It's the most talked about TV show that's not on TV.
And I think you guys are amazing.
With raw, honest opinions.
This was not a mistake. This was a lie.
Exclusive stories.
Some industry insiders have been talking about this.
Is that a Ben Robin Robbo exclusive?
And plenty of famous faces.
I'm not wasting these gold moments on 60 minutes.
The Ben Robin Robbo Show is the new way to stream your news.
This is the stuff that headlines are made of.
Live every Monday to Thursday at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Ticker TV or Facebook and Twitter at BRR Show. Watch live or on demand.
Ben Robin Robbo.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight and David Robinson.
Ben Robin Robbo. News, entertainment. It's the Ben Robin Robbo. Ben Robin Robbo Show. Ben Robin Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ben Robin Robbo Show. Here's Rob McKnight.
Always good to stay hydrated. Hello and welcome to the Ben Robin Robbo Show. It is a lovely Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night. I don't know. I'm Rob McKnight. Hello, Ben and David Robinson. How are we, boys? Ben, how are you doing?
I'm great. And are you Rob McKnight or are you Dr. Zeus?
I don't know.
Sorry, just
I don't know. I'm out of sorts.
A whole lot of rhyming is going on. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're
okay,
right. But McKnight couldn't fight. I got nothing, Robbo. Help me.
Definitely not Dr.
Zeus.
Zeus.
Help
Thanks
me,
for
Robbo.
confirming
You're
that.
my only hope.
I'm really... Am I going to get it right? Damn it. I always get it wrong. Hi, Rob. I'm really good. Good to see you. You know what would help you feel better?
What?
You know what would? Lean in.
I mean, lovely. Lovely.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, I'll try something different next time.
Hey, boys, there's a lot coming up. You know what? I love it when we've got Sam Dastyari on because I really want to talk about New South Wales politics. Now, while they might sound dry and dull and boring, oh, my God, it's all going on with the Nationals and the Liberals and it's falling apart and big claims are being made and pretty much Gladys Berejiklian is the person. She stood up to the Nationals and put them in their place like a school mistress chastising the schoolboys, and she's done a fabulous job, and I can't wait to talk to Sam about the fallout from that. Plus, there's big news happening in the world of entertainment, including Grand Danya opening up and talking about his hallucinations, and Brad and Jen back together again.
Oh.
Why is that? We'll find out as Ben brings us some hits of entertainment throughout the show. But let's get into our hot button issues of the day. And there's been confronting video has emerged that appears to show Victorian police officers hitting and stomping on a man's head during an arrest. Timothy Atkins was being treated for a bipolar episode at a hospital in Epping when he unexpectedly left the facility. Staff were concerned for his safety and called the police. The officers allegedly struck Mr. Atkins with a car and the arrest only got more violent.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You've got his head! George, stop. Don't.
The arrest has been referred to the Professional Standards Command, and Mr. Atkins is now in an induced coma because of his injuries. Ben, he was reportedly acting erratic and had allegedly damaged a police car. So could this kind of force be warranted?
Well, I don't necessarily know why anybody would be stomped on the head like that. And I think everybody knows that, you know, throughout discussing the police and discussing these sorts of things, I've been very defensive. I've been very supportive. I should say about the police. Sorry, that footage every time absolutely floors me, and I just don't understand it. I really don't. I think that now we know the facts, and we know the facts that the man was mentally ill, and I mean, I just don't know what really went down. Look, I'm going to hand this over to someone else because I forget that footage every time actually floors me.
Well, the simple fact is, Ben, that there's no problem with detaining someone. They don't know the background. They, the biggest problem here is a mental facility called the police for help, and they've hindered. And
do you know what? I will quickly say one thing, and this is the thing that really bothered me. when you bring it down and you see what we saw yesterday, where there was a woman who was purposefully doing the wrong thing when it came to the police trying to get her information, and she put up a fight. She really bothered me because then it sort of muddies the water on how the police are just trying to attain information. And, you know, like, I think it's just, I don't know. Sorry, I find that whole footage. Anyway, keep someone else say something.
Robbo, I was going to say that I don't think under any circumstance there is any justification for stomping on somebody's head. The guy is now in an induced coma. You know, I will say that if someone's running to the police with a knife, they have every right to shoot. But when you're detaining a person and stomping on their head, there's no good that can come out of that.
No, well, let me put this to you. This is almost a great example, a textbook example. Remember when we spoke to Ty last week in the US about defunding the police? But he really made it clear to us that it's not about taking money away. It's not, you know, removing police essentially off the streets, but it is getting other people to be involved. This is a perfect example of where you would have needed mental health professionals, people who were trained to deal with this, so this kind of thing doesn't happen. And I think this is a great example of that.
But that's not always possible. They wanted to find this guy and detain him, and that's fine. But at what point, even if someone's resisting arrest, is stomping... At what point is the police's job to stomp on someone's head?
No, of course, it's no one's job. I'm not saying that at all. But they clearly didn't know how to handle him, how to arrest him. There were obviously a lot of factors they didn't know as well. But if there was just someone there as well as, you know, if there's two police officers and another person who's, you know, in charge of mental health and can identify and has that training, you know, of course, I'm not saying that there is never a time where someone should have their head stomped on by a police officer. But, you know, this is probably an example of where we need to look at how police officers are trained and how they approach a lot of mental health call-outs.
You know, I copped a bit of backlash last night over my stance yesterday supporting the police against that woman because it was described to me as violent, the way the police officer reacted. Like you, Robbo, and I don't want to talk for you, to me, the police were justified. The woman wasn't giving information. Sure. She wasn't obeying instructions, and the police officer 100%. Was removing her from her vehicle. This is completely
now, he gave her plenty of chances too. You know, just going back to that case really quickly, he gave her a lot of chances. He was talking her through what was happening, why she was being pulled over. She was given multiple chances to comply and didn't do it. So he was within his right as a police officer to remove her from the vehicle because she wasn't doing the right thing. This is very different to this case as well. But this guy was, you know, he allegedly did go to the police. He was erratic. He was behaving badly. But it doesn't matter. You can't stomp on someone. We can't always, you know, we can have our opinions, but we've never been, thankfully, in a high pressure situation like that. But I would surely think that no matter how much adrenaline is running through you, you would not go to think, okay, well, I need to get this person down, so I'm going to stomp on their head. Like, that is a complete failure, I think, of that police officer.
Yeah. I think that you know, we have to remind ourselves that, you know, these police officers' jobs at the moment is really hard all around the world. Sure. I think that they're finding themselves in more peculiar, more outrageous, more life-threatening, I don't know, like the list could go on. And as the world has increased, shouldn't the training have increased? Shouldn't there be different role playing that needs to happen for people when it comes to being on the road? Like, you know, is that the excuse that we're going to get from this man? Because we are going to get an excuse from this man for standing on this guy's head. And I really want to get to the point of what he should have been told by his instructors, what he needs to do in a situation where it's very foggy about the person's information and why they're in this circumstance, and how to be able to detain them without standing on their head.
Yeah. Fair enough. Look, new laws will soon be debated in the Victorian Parliament that would allow people considered of negligent high risk of spreading the coronavirus to be detained. And it won't just be police that would have the authority to use these powers. Protective services officers and WorkSafe inspectors would also be able to enforce public health directions. The law could be applied to conspiracy theorists and those mentally impaired who aren't able to self-quarantine. Robbo, we know we have to stop the spread. They're doing that in Victoria. No deaths overnight, thankfully. Is this another important weapon that needs to be used, or is this infringing on people's rights?
Oh, I don't like this at all. It's almost like you haven't committed a crime yet, but you'll be detained. Sorry, what? Like,
You're
are
not
we
committing a crime
going?
if you're not isolating as is
But
needed.
if you're a potential high risk person, they're not saying that you're infected. You're just potentially a high risk of someone who will. What?
I agree. It's not
Sorry?
it's not saying you're infected,
Oh.
but it's saying that you're refusing to obey the rules and regulations of not staying. You know, if it's stage 4 restrictions
Right.
and you're not obeying that.
Yeah, I didn't. Sorry, I kind of interpreted a tiny bit different in the way of if, for whatever reason, and we don't know the exact details of this, if someone thinks that you're going to be high risk and you're not going to do what you're told, then you can be detained. But yes, I grant that I probably have interpreted that wrong. The other thing I'll say is, when I look back, I think it's very important. This is getting too murky for me. How much training will there be? What happens when the budget's run out for the hotel rooms? What's the proviso there? Do they then get put in the lockup because there's no other places to go? And I also worry: is this just a carefully, guarded tool to have a go at COVID deniers and conspiracy theorists? This is a great way to shut them down.
Well, look, I do think that's fair, and we know that police and people in power can get overzealous. Ben, remember the first day when Melbourne was going into lockdown, not lockdown, but there was social distancing and a lot going on in Melbourne, and you went out to Flinders Street Station and you were told to get away, you can't be here, even though you could be there and you were social distancing and you were allowed to report on the news, but they were trying to get rid of you, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And I think because it was the start of the pandemic and the start of that particular style of lockdown, I have to admit that it seemed really aggressive and it seemed really unwarranted to be able to try and push me out from simply doing my job. And that's what I was trying to do. I wasn't there for any other reason but to report the news. Now, we've come a long way since then. And I think that now different things are emerging that I guess that people who are needing to police society are now having to control. And we've seen a lot of people coming forward and behaving differently. I mean, I don't want to say conspiracy theorists because people are allowed to have their opinions. We're an opinion-based show and there's people out there that want to have their opinions. But what about these people who are promoting others to get out and about in public and protest? And the interesting thing about that was that I was told that story about a younger family, and both the mother and the father had mental health issues. They are struggling underneath the new lockdown of stage 4. I mean, they'd been struggling under these different lockdowns that have happened since March. And they just followed the lead of other people without simply understanding that it's not okay for them to be out and about. So I think we do need to start looking at different ways of being able to stop and hinder people thinking about breaking the law. And that means to be very aggressive with the ways in which we're policing people, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, you may not know this, but the iconic Aboriginal flag is actually copyrighted. It was designed in 1971 by artist and activist Harold Thomas, and he's owned the rights ever since. Over the years, he's allowed the flag to be licensed, and he collects the royalties. Mr. Thomas currently has an agreement with Wham Clothing, who have taken the license very seriously. The company, which is not owned by Indigenous people, have sent many cease and desist letters threatening legal action to many companies, including the AFL and Aboriginal charities. The AFL actually decided not to enter into an agreement, which was one of the catalysts of a Senate committee hearing. You might remember the Aboriginal flag wasn't used in recent matches. The aim is to find and negotiate a way that the flag can be used by all, but Wham Clothing refused to answer most of the questions put to them, citing confidential business agreements. Robbo, this does seem to be a fairly normal business agreement. The artist has voluntarily entered into it. Should the government back off? Do the government have any rights here?
I think they do, because it's such a powerful symbol. It is the Aboriginal flag. I really don't like this. I don't like that the license is held by a company that has nothing to do with Indigenous people. They make the flags, for instance, in Bali. This just leaves me feeling icky. They've done nothing to improve their standing on being the people who are the rightful license holders at the moment. When they appeared before that Senate's committee, they would often say no to, they wouldn't answer questions rather, but they would also go, well, I don't have the information, I don't have my laptop with me. Now, you think that you'd be pretty... I think that's pretty arrogant. You think you'd have all of the answers ready for you. I don't like this at all. There is actually a proviso with the federal government that they can compulsorily acquire copyright and buy him out. I kind of like the idea of that. He's an artist. He does own it. He went to the High Court and he now owns the IP. I think that's very important. So he should be... given money for that and given royalties. I just don't like it with this particular company because they don't seem to be playing fair at all. Imagine sending to a charity and asking them for $10,000 a year to use the flag in their bloody their logo. That's disgusting. You can't what?
Look, there is something that it does leave a bad taste in your mouth, and certainly there's no doubt he designed it, so he does have a right to it. But Ben, I do think it's time the government came in, maybe give him $500,000. I don't know what the price is, but buy the rights to it, give it back to the people.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that negotiation needs to happen better than it has been done because, I mean, the flag should be used in particular events, especially events that, represent the Aboriginal community. That is the flag that we have aligned with them, so they deserve to have that flag be shown. So I think negotiations need to change, but I also would like to add something on top of that, and I would say, what about if we redo all the flags all around the world? And then we make sure the rights go to the right people. Too much?
Maybe. Hell of an undertaking.
Do you know
well,
that,
I just feel like...
sorry.
No, go. Oh, I was just going to say, I just feel like we could do with a refresh. I don't know. Is there a delay for me? When I say that, I mean my brain.
Yeah. Robbo, what did you want to say?
I just found out the other day that the Sam Neill movie Event Horizon is set, I don't know, many years in the future. And he actually requested and was given on his costume the Australian flag. It had the Union Jack removed and had the Aboriginal flag put where that was. I thought that was really lovely because he goes, I'm surely by this time in the future, that's what the flag will look like. And the costumers were fine with it. I found that very interesting. You guys already knew that, I guess, because you weren't...
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
It's a good Google, and it's a nice little fact. It's not made a big deal of. It's just sitting there on his arm. It's a nice little nod. But well done, you.
Good movie. Good movie.
Hey, I got some points. Did I get points? What do I get for my points?
Yeah, you do.
You get a point.
Gold star.
I get to stay on the show? Yeah.
Always. All right. A vegan, or is that your punishment? A vegan activist on TikTok has certainly not minced words when she announced who would get her organs when she dies. Miss Katie said that she wouldn't allow her organs to be placed in someone who murders animals. She even went as far to say that people who eat meat are evil. She would only allow her organs to be placed in a vegan animal rights activist. Take a look at this.
Hi everyone. Before becoming a teacher, a school teacher, I worked as a nurse for 25 years. And I always talked about the importance of signing our organ donor cards. But this year, for the first time in my life, I have decided not to sign it. And here's why. I realize how despicable society is, how many evil people are out there, especially since coming to TikTok, even more so. And I've decided that there's no way on earth that I want any of you to ever get my organs if I die. The only people I would ever want would be vegan animal rights activists, because I will give those organs to those people and I know they will not be murdering animals to put into that body that would have been saved. The rest of you will just continue to live and keep murdering animals. So I just wanted to let you know that it's really disappointing, but it's come to this.
Do you know, I was ready to write this woman off, I will say. But the fact what she said when she's seen the worst of society, if she hadn't gone down the whole animal thing, I tend to agree with her. Society can be pretty toxic at times, can't it, Robbo?
Yes, but you can't... This woman is a sanctimonious, arrogant little twit who thinks that she can essentially play God by not saving people. So, look, I hope that she doesn't have any kids and, that her kid needs a kidney transplant but he eats meat. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. How dare she decide who gets it? Now, it's her body, so she can decide to take the organs to the grave and whatever. That is selfish just in itself. But to have this idea of going, I'm going to make this announcement, darling, when did we ask? No one did, darling. It's best if you just shut up You have got a stupid. I just don't like this idea. You can be vegan and do all you want. You can eat vegetables. You can eat air. You can eat water. I don't give a flying shit. But what I do care about is if you've got really good organs and someone poor needs that organ, someone who is in trouble needs the organ, you don't get to decide if it goes into them.
Yeah, but you know what? We don't have to play that video. People don't have to watch it. But Miss Katie was widely panned, and she says she's received death threats for past videos. Doesn't that back up her point about what society's like?
Yeah, but okay. I don't like a lot of people, really. I don't like a lot of humans because I think humans are the worst species to ever walk the earth, right? So that's fine. However, they're not all bad.
It's a bright show
but
today.
They're not all bad. So I just don't think it's fair
too,
for this woman to just come out. Oh yeah, you guys are. Yeah, no, you guys are in the very, very small list of people I like.
Thanks. I'll
Guess
take
who's
it.
not on that list?
I'm not believing that.
No,
Well,
you are.
okay.
You are.
All right. Well, you guys are gross. Keep going. What were you saying? You sound like you're about to get to a point.
And that's coming from Ben.
Did you
It
not
does
hear my
take me a
point?
really-
All right, here we go. No.
Okay,
Here we
no.
go.
It does
We've
take
got
me
to
a really
add 3
long
minutes
time to
extra
get
to the
to my
show.
point. Fair enough.
The point is, she shouldn't be able to tell people that she can't use their organs because they're meat eaters. I think she's sanctimonious and arrogant, selfish. She's a woman who can't make the decisions. If she doesn't want to give organs to herself or to anyone else, then that's fine. But just don't come out and announce it because she's an idiot. I stumbled a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you get the point there?
Ben,
Or?
I'll give you the final word.
Oh, I just want to say, to Miss Katie, good-o. If you don't want to give your organs to people who eat meat, then we're happy to oblige. I mean, I'm a meat eater and I don't want any of her organs. She doesn't look like she's eating very well, to be honest with you. She looks like she could do with it. She looks like she could do with a good feed. No, I'm not saying meat. I'm just saying, she just needs to eat a little bit more and think a little bit more and yeah. And thanks for that.
Indeed. All right, let's move on. Everyone knows politics is not a clean game, but one YouTuber took it literally. He calls himself Armando, and his MO appears to be live streaming himself doing a poo. But it's where he chose to lay some cable that has the internet talking. The driveway belongs to Democratic Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi. Armando joked online he dropped the kids off in honour of Donald Trump. Armando was detained. Have we got the footage, Amanda? Briefly by San Francisco police before being let go. Here he goes. Good on you, Armando. Idiot.
No,
we're not actually going to...
No, you don't actually say anything. But he does.
What's he going to
pull out
wipe
some
with?
toilet paper there. No, he's got toilet paper, which he proceeds to put back in his pocket. Folds it over. Puts it back in his... Yes.
Oh, Armando.
Isn't this
Okay.
just absolutely
This
rotten?
Show's great today.
I think I'm done.
Okay, maybe the vegan was right. Oh, finally I'm going to side with the vegan. Shit. Oh, I wish I'd read the rundown. I would have seen that story was coming up now. Okay, I'm with her. Yep. It's all gone to shit.
Is it too early for Tipsy Thursday?
Oh,
I think
after
people
that,
think
like,
we always treat every day as Tipsy Thursday. People will write to us every day being like, is it Thursday already? It's because everyone acts pretty drunk every day.
Oh, we're having a good time.
That's a good hook.
Okay.
We're just having a bit of fun. Very right.
Yeah, no, fair
and
enough.
I've left the music up. Gone.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. I wondered how long it was going to go for.
It's just disgusting. Like I can't. Can you just play it really quickly and just listen to the music that I put underneath the pooping? Pooping video? I don't know why I like it, but
It's good.
yeah. I don't know why. As soon as I found it, I thought that's my poop music. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Make something so bad feel something.
Singing a song.
No, Amanda, stop. Stop. Oh, thank God for that. It's not funny. I think it's kind of crap. And I don't care.
It really is. I can't bear it. Like people have a right to protest, but this is just.
It's just not funny.
Was it Billy Madison that used to put those bags of brown paper bags full of shit on front of people's doors and light them in the
Which is a very
Billy
American
Madison
thing to do as a prank, yeah.
So yeah, like I think that we have to blame Adam Sandler for this particular moment in time.
All right.
Actually,
Ben, let's
while
pick
we're
up the
while we're
pace.
blaming,
Let's move on because Ben, we've got to hear the raw tellings of what really went down with Grant Danya after he broke his back. Let's get a hit of entertainment, Benny boy.
Are you going to do the intro? Okay, no, great. I'm already here.
That was the intro.
So, anyway, I'm having a really good day today, and I had all this coffee and said to my partner, I was like, I feel so ready for this show. And anytime I ever say that, it's the show that I actually come across like I'm really stupid. Not stupid, really stupid. It's stupid with guilt. Anyway, I'm like the Lisa Kudrow of the group, I feel like, you know, you guys are Ross and Rachel, and I'm the stupid one. Anyway, I'm going to keep going into the story. Yeah, you probably are, to be honest with you. Alrighty, so the Family Feud host has revealed on his new podcast, which is titled It's All True. Actually, check out this podcast. It's very funny because they do workshop some different titles as to what he and Shez, his wife, wanted to call the podcast. So there's a few funny jokes in that. But look, on this podcast, he opened up about the reality of his painkiller addiction when he was addicted to painkillers after he broke his back. What started as a concoction of endone and morphine while recovering from a broken back. Here to explain how he felt with his wife is a little snippet from the podcast. Check it out.
The paranoia, the medication is the worst part of the injury by far.
Yeah.
Like the injury was bad. The medication was just, it was, God, it did your head in.
And we had so many drug psychosis episodes where Grant would kick me out of the house because he would say I'm an imposter dressed up as Shezzy, and he'd be like, I don't believe you, get out of the house. And so I'd get locked out of the house, and I'd be a crying mess. I can't call my family to tell them how bad it is because I can't make any phone calls because any time he hear, like I just remember sitting out the front door of our apartment and just crying for hours, just not knowing where to turn.
And in my head, all that stuff was real, and I just couldn't tell the difference. The combination of pain and the endones were just such a horrible combo.
Wow.
Guys, I'm
brutally
going to
honest.
say it's so honest. And, you know, they do sit down at the start of the podcast and they talk about that they wrote out some notes, some show notes, which we often do. And then they kind of threw them out the window and then just went down a really honest path. I want to ask you guys, though, because, look, I think it is really hard to talk about addictions, especially when you're in the media, especially when you've got current jobs in the media, because you feel as though if you talk about alcohol and drug use, you'll never get employed again. What do you think about these guys opening up so much and being able to talk about Grant's struggle with painkiller addiction?
I think it's good because it takes away stigma. The more you can take away stigma about addiction not being a choice and more about being a sickness, I think it's a very good thing. There's only positives that can really come from this, and I think a lot of people will connect with that. Addiction touches pretty much everyone in some kind of way, whether it's a family member or a friend or whatever. I think that this is a good thing. When you hear people talk about matter-of-factly and openly and honestly, I think it can only be good.
It is great, Robbo, from a public point of view, but within the industry, there's a lot of people who still have old-fashioned ideas that you can't make mistakes and come back from those. And this is dangerous for Grant, and I hope there's no blowback in it because he's a great performer and he's been very open. But, you know, as I say, there are people in the industry who are running the industry, the TV industry, who will not look favourably on that because he doesn't connect with viewers, which is actually not true because I think there's a lot of people out there in the world who've gone through similar things. You know, he without sin cast the first stone. We've all made mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it made me like it more. I mean, I did listen to the whole 45 minutes this morning. And, you know, when I read the article, because it was on the Daily Mail and a few other places this morning, I was a little bit like, wow, that's an overshare. But when you hear it in its entirety and you put it into context, I think that more people with positions of power or positions of influence that have been in situations that are totally relatable, because there's a huge part of their audiences that are probably struggling with real things. I think it doesn't normalize it, but it sort of helps people understand that they're not alone. And the best thing about that story is that, you know, we can see Grant Danya on Family Feud at the moment. We can see that he's come out of that. And that's one of the things about drug and alcohol addiction we need to sort of reinforce with our friends and family when they're in those darker times is, you know, you need to fight hard, you need to get out of this. And the reward is that people out there still will, people will employ you. People will take more of a chance with you. And I have to say, as I stated at the start of this, I think it's powerful for him.
Yeah, look, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more.
You can't agree?
I couldn't agree.
I won't agree.
More. Dramatic pause. Ben, what else is coming up a little later in entertainment, mate?
Well, a couple of reunions. We're going to talk about Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt. They have had a reunion of sorts. The full story on that is coming up a little bit later. And also, Charlie's Angels, one of my favourite movies. Charlie's Angels 1 and 2, that is. And that reunion story is coming up a little bit later in the show.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Okay, it's time to cut through the political BS with our man in the know, former federal senator Sam Dastyari. Hello, Sam.
Great to be here.
Always good to have you here. We need to start about the confuckus in New South Wales politics. It's a Ben Norris word and we love it, and it sums New South Wales up to a T. It all started last week when the Nationals leader came out and made this extraordinary statement.
We are also in agreement from the party room that we will be abstaining from supporting any government legislation or bills, but we reserve our right to vote on and support or not support bills that are relevant to regional and rural New South Wales, and will do so until such time that our position and our amendments are considered and the issue around the SEP is actually afforded in a way that we are comfortable with.
Oh, Sam, it seemed laughable at the time to say, we're walking away, but we're keeping our portfolios.
But the insanity is this, right? Look, in politics, there's the optics, right? And you have to pick your battles and pick what you're going to fight on. Who wants to decide that your line in the sand is going to be the right to kill koalas? Right? And you can choose, right? Now, I get the higher issue. The higher issue is, right, when you're a minor party in a coalition, you've got to stand up and you've got to be heard. You've got to show your constituency you're standing up for them. But the issue to pick it on, not back in the day, which was Telstra privatisation by the Nats or this or that, right? It's culling koalas. It's one of these mind-blowingly stupid issues, right? In the middle of COVID to actually, stake your in the ground on. So it comes out, says that, then the Premier says, piss off, has a meeting, she says, quit, or walk, I don't give a shit, you're out. He says, oh, no, I won't go. And then he comes down and claims it's a victory. Beautiful. I mean, it's like 1984 doublespeak, right? But the problem he's got, and this is the major problem for the National Party, always, at a federal and state level, is this. You are the junior partner of a coalition. You're the junior partner. You don't get that much of a say. You don't get to set the policy agenda broadly, but you have to wear all the decisions. So you need to, from time to time, stand up. This is mind-blowingly dumb. Look, it's hard to see how long or how he's going to survive from here. He's a damaged goods now. He's a joke, right? And there's this great Ronald Reagan quote, which is, you can survive anything in politics but ridicule. When they laugh at you, you're finished. Every other scandal, you survive.
Well, Sam, Gladys Berejiklian, she then played hardball, really, didn't she? So what's your take on that?
Look, I mean, firstly, I think that they were in shock. And I've talked to a couple of the state Liberals as well. They were just in shock that you could be this stupid, right? Because the assumption is there must be some four-dimensional chess going on here, right? There must be some brilliant strategic play that we're just not seeing. There must be something great going on here. It's that realisation that, no, there is literally nothing else here than this kind of internal play for him to look tough. And, yeah, a couple of the national backbench MPs obviously, support this position. But, again, I hard to see how it's a first-order issue in the community. And the way it's been framed, right? So first it got framed as being in the media, as being about killing koalas. Then it got framed as the stupidity of quitting, keeping the money, then not quitting, and claiming you won. It's very, very damaging to him. It's very damaging to the National Party. I don't think it's that damaging to Gladys. I think she came out of it looking tough. Obviously, when you're a state premier, you don't want to have divisions. So you'd rather not have divisions within your own party. But look, Gladys is a class act, and she plays the cards she gets dealt very, very well every time, and she's done it again.
So, Sam, let's do a little bit of a betting thing. Will he resign, or will he last the distance? What's your money on?
You framed it wrong. Will he decide he needs to spend more time with his family over Christmas?
Oh, brilliant!
Sorry,
very good.
Will he say around Christmas time that I've spent far too much time away? I want to see my kids grow up. It's been devastating and hurtful. And it's a beautiful speech. I can give it to you. I've given it myself. They're the ones who suffer. They didn't sign up for this job, and I just want to spend more time with them. And then he'll do that, then move to Sydney to take up some corporate gig while they still live out in the bush. Could that happen? Probably. I think that his position is untenable. I can't see how he can go to the next state election. I think the National Party backbench and the MPs and their constituency and base, on one hand, they want you to be tough and stand up and fight, but they also don't want you to lose. And he's committed all the sins. He's picked a dumb issue. He didn't win. He's come across as being an idiot. And, he's a loser. And these are all really, really big sins. Like, if you go to the wall and win, sure. If you go to the wall upon a principle that everyone's going to be here. And the principle they tried to go on is that the bush is being ignored. That's a great principle for the National Party. Bush is being ignored. We stand up for the bush. We stand up for bush rights. And historically, they did that really well, right? Again, the classic example being Telstra. The Telstra privatisation, and also how they've stood up for postal services in the bush when the coalition governments have wanted to privatise Australia Post, and those kinds of issues where we can say, we will walk if you do this, this matters to our people. And also, the city audience kind of goes, oh, okay, look, I'm obviously not from a regional area, but I can understand why you'd be really worried about when Telstra was being privatised at the time. That's why guarantees, because it makes sense to me. I know I live in West Sydney. Of course, I'm going to have good mobile phone coverage. I can understand why people worry about those things. No, I can't understand why the right to be able to cull koalas on your own property when they're an endangered species. How many people is this affecting? How big a real issue is this? How many people out there are lying in bed at night saying, if only someone could stand up for their right to shoot koalas? It's just a weird
I know what you mean. Look, I want to show a report from 10 News last night that sort of took a look at the way this thing was unfolding as the day played out yesterday.
We're a strong, stable government, and that's what we'll continue to do.
While Gladys Berejiklian claims the coalition is connected, other Liberals are ready to wipe their hands of John Barilaro.
I was really surprised with what took place last week. I thought it represented a failure of leadership, a distraction that wasn't required.
I'll work with whoever the National Party give us as their leader, and at the moment it's the Deputy Premier.
That last grab is the telltale, isn't it? Whoever that is at the moment, that does not.
I mean, it's like you as the host of this show. I keep hearing from Ben and Robbo that they have your full support. Their full support. It's one of those telltales.
Yes.
The National Party decides its own leader, right? But they're not, outside or immune from pressure. By the way, the other bit of that footage that shocked me is these state Liberal ministers. You think someone would teach them how to do a tie-up properly? I'm going to be a snob here.
Oh, Jesus.
I thought that too. Yeah, I really did.
All right. Not being fair to some of these blokes.
Ties aside, there has been a New South Wales cabinet meeting with the National Party and the Libs today, and by all accounts, pretty much they said at the beginning of the meeting individually, we support each other and government will continue. This just seems like a complete slap in the face for the Nationals, and they went big, they went hard, and they lost completely. But look, Sam, before I let you go, I have to show you this clip of Donald Trump reacting to a claim about climate change while speaking to California Governor Gavin Newsom.
We're seeing this warming trend make our summers warmer, but also our winters warmer as well. So I think one area of mutual agreement and priority is vegetation management. But I think we want to work with you to really recognize the changing climate and what it means to our forests and actually work together with that science. That science is going to be key, because if we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
Okay, it'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Well, I don't think science knows, actually.
So, in case you didn't hear it, Trump's reaction was, it'll start getting cooler. You just watch. I don't think science knows, actually. Sam, while this might infuriate the left and even make them laugh, his base laps this up, don't they?
Yeah, well, what they do is, look, again, he's a caricature of himself. His message is, I don't give a shit. I just don't care, right? So there you had, obviously, the governor and that, trying to be reasonable. They weren't slapping him in the face. They were doing the whole, we want to work with you together on the science so that we can address this. All the kind of, non-infuriating kind of rhetoric. And he doesn't give a shit, right? I mean, his Twitter feed is, again, like this kind of the musings of a madman. But the authenticity of it all, you know he doesn't care. You know he genuinely is saying what he's thinking. And again, this huge authenticity problem I think the Democrats are going to have. I mean, if anyone's had a chance to see it, Biden's speeches have been written by 10 people and gone through a teleprompter and been kind of vetted and every sentence very full stop. It has, right? And it reads like it has.
Yeah, it does.
Obama, you can kind of maybe pull that off because, his charisma was so brilliant. But Trump looks like a man who went into that meeting with no preparation, wouldn't have read a document. He said to go, nah, it's bullshit. That's it. And he just keeps moving. Right? And none of this hurts him anymore. All of this is now being priced in.
Well, it sort of plays into his fan base, as you said. Well, his core base, they love him for it. Sam, I like to treat this segment as a bit of a Dear Sam moment because I like to ask you just really random questions because I know you'll be able to help me. And that is that someone slid into my DMs the other day and was like, ScoMo's flying down to Victoria to bump Daniel Andrews out and that there's going to be a Liberal spill as well. Do you get all of these weird conspiracy theories? And is there any truth? Do you think that there'll be a spill within the Labor Party before the end of Daniel Andrews' term?
I've been around long enough to realise that when someone says that they're going to knock off a Labor Party leader, it's usually not a conspiracy theory. It's an early fact. What's that great saying? All political careers end in failure, because that is the nature of politics and human affairs. Look, Dan's in real trouble. Dan is in real trouble. I suspect he'll have one opportunity, right, at the end of this to be able to demonstrate that he can kind of grow the state out of it. He will have that chance, and if that fails, then I wouldn't be surprised if he says, I've been Premier for 5 years, I've been leader for 10, I need to spend some more time with my family, they've suffered enough, I've done next, right? The thing he's got at the moment is the state Liberal leader, a guy I think Michael O'Brien, you couldn't pick him in a lineup, right? Like, none of us here, audience, no one would know.
We're more aware of Tim Smith than we are the Liberal leader.
Yeah, well, Tim's played it smart. Again, I don't agree with a lot of Tim's politics, but Tim has decided that what I'm going to do out of this pandemic, whether it's right or wrong, I'm here to cut through the BS, so whether it's right or wrong, ignore that. He's decided that I'm going to get famous out of it. I'm going to get known. And he, I think, is hoping that in 6 months' time, people remember that they know him, but they don't know what they know him from. And there's a little trick in politics. Latham was very good at this too. You just get the media, get the fame, get the attention. Barnaby was like this too. And after a while, they kind of forget why they know you. They just know you as a politician. So all of a sudden, you're recognized. And because people are busy and they're distracted, they forget, they vaguely know, oh, yeah, he's the Liberal guy, blah, blah, blah. The specifics of what you said actually gets forgotten very quickly, thank God.
Okay, well, Sam...
Well, for Tim, I think that's going to work in his favour.
Sam, thank you very much. Sam, thank you very much. I'll try to get a word in with all of you. Thank you very much. Look forward to your insights next week. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, bye.
It's the Random Life Shot of the Day. Where are you going today? You'll never know where you'll end up with the Random Life Shot of the Day.
And today we're taking you to Gerringong, New South Wales, where our producer Abby is holidaying. She recorded this footage earlier this morning. Nice job if you can get it. It's a mostly sunny day of a low of 13 after a high of 21. Or
quickly, Rob, sorry, really,
Sorry, Robbo?
Yeah, really quickly, Rob, if you can afford to go somewhere like that, surely you can afford a bloody tripod. Look at that shaky shot. Goodness gracious me.
And she didn't record enough of it. It's going to run out in a moment. So, you know, let's take a look at some feedback coming through to the Ben, Rob and Robbo show. Thank you for sending that through, Abby. Hi, everyone. Unfortunately, doing a course Mondays and Tuesdays for the next 8 weeks. Having Ben, Rob and Robbo withdrawals. Thank you, Malcolm. Ben says, is Sophie Monk cross-eyed in that opener? Yes, Ben, she is. You could have asked me that, and you didn't have to tweet. I
2
could
weeks
have answered
ago.
that question for you. Brett says, not sure how bad the split was with 10 for Rob, but damn, this would make a great show for 1 p.m. on 10 each day, even simulcast on the web at the same time. I don't think that's going to happen, right? You call Channel 10, you ask them. I don't like your chances. Mary says, as always, Ben, you're spot on. Can't wait to learn what the excuse is. Jan says, great show today. Anne says, can we stop giving attention seekers attention? Well, there'd be no Ben and Robbo show if we did that.
That's what I was about to say. Yes.
Leo
I'll take
says, you can eat air. Quote of the day from David Robinson. Matthew
wish I
says,
did.
it's a bright show today. Classic Ben. Janelle says, seriously, do we really need poo cam? Really? Oh, that wrecks next week's segment where I was going to take you live to the bathroom. Jamie says, every day is Blur's Day.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Travis says, your episode description keeps saying it's Tipsy Thursday. Well, Travis says we just said Abby's away. What you going to do? I keep forgetting to do it.
Yeah, we're still stuck on episode 4.
Again, Amanda, can you go back to that? I mean, I don't know if she'll ever come back to the show. And surely,
look at
Robbo,
that.
she's got Wi-Fi there. We all work remotely anyway.
Yeah, she does. She does.
You know, and what I will say after that is there is a whole load of love for Grant Danya, including this one from Carlotta. Please, Danya, keep telling the truth. It's refreshing. Lots of love for Grant Danya and what he's talking about and being so open and honest. So good on you, Grant. You've got our support here at the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show, which I'm sure he's at home waiting on.
He's a friend of the show.
He's watching the show. Hi, Grant. How are you? Thanks for
Hey,
listening. I
Shezzy.
listened to your podcast.
Yeah,
Yep, gave you
absolutely.
5 stars out of
All
20.
right. Now, it's
Just
time for some entertainment. And Ben, you just know I love talking about Ellen. And now she is responsible for cancelling the Friends reunion.
Oh, come on. That is not even the story. It's
She's
not
the
the
murderer.
story. Anyway, look, Lisa Kudrow has revealed that the reunion's host, which was supposed to be Ellen DeGeneres, it was supposed to be like the worst kept secret in Hollywood, she may not in fact be doing this as planned. And I think this has a lot to do with the fact that people are
The world hates her.
What's Robbo chanting about?
Oh, sorry, my mic was open. Sorry.
I thought you were
Pay full
religious
attention to you, Ben.
and you're
I was just
facing north.
No,
And
I
I
was
just thought-
practicing the conundrum and I forgot that my mic was open. I'm so sorry. That was terrible. I'm so... Oh, that was
I thought
awful.
you'd
I'm
actually
so
lost.
sorry.
I thought you'd lost your mind. I honestly thought you'd lost your mind. But do you know what? I'm so glad that you've taken the time to listen to my entertainment report today. It warms my heart how much you pay attention to it. It really does. I love you so much.
Sorry, Ben. Sorry. I was just trying to...
It's the
Anyway,
magic of television where he's prepping for the next bit. You know, we don't
I
have
know.
commercial breaks on this show.
It's fine. I'm not holding him accountable for this.
Sorry.
But for everything else, I will continue to hold him accountable for that. Anyway, moving along, we have some audio of Lisa Kudrow talking to Andy Cohen about the host situation. This played out yesterday on Andy Cohen's podcast. Check it out.
Have you guys were going to shoot the reunion for HBO Max, and then that got shut in March. Is there a host for that? Is Ellen? Did I hear that Ellen DeGeneres was
Ellen is
hosting the
gonna
reunion?
host that. Yeah, she's gonna host that.
You may. I don't know. I don't know that that's been decided.
Got it.
Yeah.
Lies. Ellen was hosting. Ellen brought on the coronavirus, and now the show is being delayed because they can't have Ellen host it. Ellen DeGeneres is a scourge upon society. I'm just pissing with you.
Wait, did you just blame Ellen for the coronavirus? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, that guy in
I don't
China
even
only ate
understand
the
that.
bat because Ellen had been mean to him, and he said, "Well, what's the point?" And he did an Ozzy Osbourne and went.
So So just for the people playing at home, we don't have a producer working with us at the moment. Our producer's on holidays, as you saw earlier. So we are literally, it's a very different show.
Oh my God.
It's a very different show today, but look, it's still lots of fun. Are you both okay?
I'm burning up here. I'm having a hot flush. I'm going through the pores.
Robert's laughter at my thing is making me laugh.
Oh, Jesus creepers. I wasn't expecting that.
Next
The
entertainment
poor guy,
report.
Ellen was mean to the poor guy. That was what happened. Ellen was mean to the poor guy.
Started
So he
correct.
ate a bat.
Can we get that trending? Can we get that rumor happening that Ellen caused coronavirus? Oh, I would love it.
We will not be
Ben
starting
like,
that.
would you like that?
Next entertainment report. Robert McKnight, when laughing a lot, ends up sounding like a little schoolgirl. Do you want to go again?
And Ben, much has been made about the upcoming series of The Crown with Princess Diana. I'm out with Princess Diana taking centre stage. But there's fallout here, and they're there. This is fascinating.
Yeah, this is actually really is quite fascinating, Rob. Thank you. Look, the Netflix series The Crown is coming out with their final series. Much has been said about this next series, which is going to be surrounding with Diana's story. Now, in this story, they will be tackling some of the more sensitive and heartbreaking issues that Diana faced while she was the princess. And the backstory to this is really upsetting the royals. The royals have not been a big fan of Netflix's telling of their personal stories. I'm sure they're also upset with Women's Day for 35 years of telling of their stories. But I will say this. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle have just signed a $114 million deal with Netflix, and everyone is saying that now that Netflix is doing The Crown and these two have aligned themselves with the streaming service, that things are going to get pretty nasty between the old royals and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. What do you guys think? Do you reckon that the royals are going to get pissed at this?
I thought things were already nasty.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll
I
be
think
series
that's right.
5 of The Crown.
I never thought of that though, but yeah, with obviously much has been made about Netflix having that deal with them. It never even occurred to me that obviously that connection would also be made with The Crown. Yeah, that's quite amazing. Do you boys think that any programming that they do will be watchable or will create a lot of audience? I'm saying the first show probably will be because everyone will be like, okay, what's this about? But ongoing programming? Is there much?
I think it will be
fine. We've always looked to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for their show ideas.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that you guys are really missing the point. I think you guys are really missing the point. You're probably underestimating how much people are wanting to hear from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I have watched quite a bit of what they've...
They're going to be producing.
No, but you guys want to hear...
They're not going to do the Kardashians in Windsor Palace.
How about we talk about what they could do? They don't necessarily need to dish the dirt on their personal lives, but what they could do is facilitate change by creating programming that is aligned with their experiences. Both of them have experienced quite a lot in their lives, and I think some of that storytelling could be really powerful once being put onto Netflix. So if you take away the idea of them being a sensationalized story and a once-off, and you think about them sharing their learnings, I think there's a lot of power, and there's a lot of shows that could be made out of those too.
Doesn't mean it's going to be compelling and make me pay my $17 a month for Netflix.
You'll pay that $17 anyway.
True. Hey, this is a movie that I've never actually seen and keep meaning to because it's one of those cult classics, but they've officially taped a table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. What's the gossip?
Okay, so everyone's been talking about this one as well. So Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt have reunited. This table read has happened over the last couple of days. The trailer is now out that you can see the full cast because they said they weren't going to reveal the cast until the table read was available for people to watch. However, in the trailer, you'll get to see the lineup. We've got the trailer now. Check it out.
This Friday night, join me, hi, I'm Dane Cook, and a few of my friends as we present Feeling Alive, a virtual table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This time starring Jennifer Aniston, Dane Cook, Morgan Freeman, Henry Golding, Jimmy Kimmel, Shia LaBeouf, Matthew McConaughey, Sean Penn, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, and more. Fast Times at Ridgemont High to benefit poor and reform. So who's playing who? Only one thing is for sure. Sean is not playing Spicoli. Find out who is.
I'm confused. So it's other actors. I thought the key would be getting the original actors to come and reprise their roles, but no.
Well, no, that was the kind of the joke in the trailer there, that Sean Penn's main title, he didn't agree to coming back to do that. So what they've done is they've gone that step higher and found more famous people to play these roles. So they've kind of moved it around a little bit. I mean, come on, Julia Roberts in it, Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt back together, working together. I think it's going to get a lot of eyes on it. I will have to admit to you guys at this point that Fast Times at Ridgemont High was not one of my favorites. So I'm going to wait for the sequel when they do maybe Pretty in Pink or something else.
I'm going to have to go on.
Can I say I got sucked in by the promo?
You did?
Yeah, I got sucked in by the promo because at the beginning of the show, I was told as a viewer that Brad and Jen had reunited.
Yeah, they
and
have.
I thought it was
for
love.
this table read.
Yeah, I don't know why I still fall for it, but I thought
it was true.
No, I meant like in relationship, romantic.
You wanted them romantically.
You jumped to that assumption, dear boy. We never said that in the.
I know, I did. I know. But you just go, oh, really? It's a table.
Robbo, we deal in fact.
Nice to know I've still got it.
Yeah, you
in the
really do.
In McKnight Productions, we deal with fact, not fiction. So all of those titles are never misleading whatsoever. And I will swear on both of your lives on that one.
Oh, well.
Not my own. Okay, one more story. I got one more.
Ben,
yeah.
Some people think Drew Barrymore's all right.
She is.
No, it's Rob's. Rob has a certain spot.
Yeah, I know.
Drew Barrymore, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But now she has her own talk show, and this has been around a bit today, but it's a great first episode.
Absolutely. She managed to secure some pretty amazing guests. I love Charlie's Angels. First two guests on Drew Barrymore's show is Lucy Liu and Cameron Diaz. We have them reuniting right now. Check it out.
I couldn't begin this journey without two women who have been a part of my heart for over 20 years. We are friends. We are fellow angels. Please welcome my partners in crime and life, Lucy Liu and Cameron Diaz.
I really hope we have time for this because they did go into a really funny story. Drew Barrymore obviously needed to get Cameron Diaz out of her retirement because she doesn't do a lot of media.
Oh, yeah?
She made a little video and she sent it to Cameron Diaz and it may not have gone down the way she expected. Check this out.
I mean, I've never done this in my life because I'm so comfortable. I mean, we have lived together all over the world. So, of course, to save time, I sent her a video while I'm getting dressed. And you don't see anything. I'm not that dumb. But I'm getting out of the shower and I'm like wringing out of my towel. And I don't hear back from her for like 2 days. And I'm like, this is weird. What is going on? So I text her and I'm like, I don't care about the question. Are you okay? I don't hear again for 2 days. And I'm freaking out. So I call her and I'm like, what is going on? I'm worried. Is everything okay? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, the video. You didn't get my video? Turns out a young boy got the video. Lucky him. Oh.
Hey, we're wrapping up, but can I just say, they are in different locations. My understanding is Cameron Diaz was in a completely different studio there to Drew Barrymore. She was I don't have the actual facts, but if Drew Barrymore was in LA, Cameron Diaz was in New York or something that. Yeah.
No, it was the other way around. I think it was the other way around.
Right, was it? Cool. That brings us to the end of a really loose Tuesday. Ben and David, thank you very much, boys.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I'm not loose.
Not what I've heard. All right, we'll see you tomorrow on the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.